There's a place on Earth where one step can take you out of Europe and into Asia. A place so strange, so contested, that even today, no one truly knows which continent it belongs to. Geographers have debated it for decades. Mountaineers have argued over it for generations. And maps? They've drawn and redrawn the lines, but never with certainty. This mountain range has no clear border. No fixed identity, just endless questions. Because hidden within these rugged peaks are hundreds of languages no one speaks anymore. Forgotten civilizations buried beneath centuries of silence. And deep underground, rumors of volcanic activity that science has yet to confirm or deny. Why does this place, so remote and overlooked, hold the power to divide not just geography, but culture, memory, and even who we are? Is it a wall meant to separate two worlds? Or is it a gate waiting to be opened? This is the Caucasus Mountains, and the truth buried here might just rewrite the map of history. Join me right now. And if you're drawn to the unexplained, the hidden, the forgotten, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell, because some places were never meant to be discovered. Have you ever imagined a mountain range that is, at once, a colossal scar carved into the skin of the earth, and a spectral boundary between two distinct worlds? If you look at the Caucasus from a satellite map, you'll see a near straight line stretching between the Black Sea and the Caspian. But the closer you zoom in, the stranger it gets. Topographically, the Caucasus isn't just a single mountain range. It's a pair of twin brothers, born together, but with entirely different souls. To the north lies the Greater Caucasus, taller, rougher, younger, still bearing the raw imprints of tectonic birth. Here rise peaks towering beyond 5,000 meters, rivaling the Alps, even the Rockies. To the south, the Lesser Caucasus, older, worn by time, winding like an ancient serpent slithering through Armenia, Georgia, and northwestern Iran. This stark contrast is no coincidence. It's the result of a primordial collision, a tectonic crash between the Arabian Plate and the Eurasian Plate, nearly 60 million years ago. Some studies suggest that this immense pressure lifted the Caucasus from the Earth's core, the way you might force a rug to ripple beneath your feet. Geologically, the Caucasus is a living fault, still moving, still building tension, and sometimes releasing it through violent, unpredictable quakes. I'm always left breathless, imagining the invisible forces beneath our feet, forces that, silently and relentlessly, forge this breathtaking landscape we only ever see the surface of. Glaciers are vanishing by the hour, and perhaps you never even knew they existed. Stretching across the 5,000-meter peaks of the Greater Caucasus are over 2,000 deep-cut gorges, each hiding what scientists call pocket glaciers, small, isolated sheets of ice, most no larger than a single square kilometer. And over the past 25 years, satellite data shows their surface area has shrunk by more than 30%. At this rate, these glaciers may be the first to vanish completely, before much of the world even learns they existed. It's hard to believe, some of Earth's most ancient ice is melting into silence without a single farewell. And nestled among the melting veins of the Caucasus lie two volcanic giants, one believed to be dormant for thousands of years, the other hiding something that refuses to sleep. These are Mount Elbrus and Mount Kazbek, both magnificent stratovolcanoes. Elbrus, rising 5,642 meters into the sky and sitting deep within Russian territory, is often called the roof of Europe. Though considered dormant, with its last eruption lost to deep time, geologists warn, silence doesn't mean safety. The mountain still breathes, quietly. Roughly 180 kilometers to the east stands Kazbek, slightly lower, but far more ominous. Signs suggest it may still be simmering. Its last recorded eruption? Around 750 BC. Since then, it has kept its secret sealed tight. But Kazbek isn't just feared for its geology, it lives in legend. Locals in Georgia believe this is where their Prometheus was chained, punished for stealing fire from the gods. A myth, yes, but myths often echo ancient fears. fears of something powerful sleeping beneath the stone. Yet the Caucasus isn't just a realm of sleeping volcanoes and dying glaciers. It's a natural paradox, where bone-chilling cold and searing heat coexist, mere footsteps apart. How can a single mountain range host snow leopards and brush shoulders with arid desert? What force created an ecosystem here so alien, so fragile? It can't be replicated anywhere else on Earth? In the eastern stretch of the Caucasus, you can stand in snow and see desert on the horizon, just hours away by foot. This is one of the few places on the planet where nearly every major climate zone collapses into a single range less than 1,000 kilometers wide. From glacial summits to glowing autumn forests, lush green meadows to semi-arid lands near the Caspian Sea. It's a compressed planet, a microcosm of Earth. And it's this contradiction that bursts an ecosystem so rare, so irreplaceable, where Caucasian leopards, Syrian brown bears, and Eurasian wolves hunt across mountain slopes, just kilometers above gazelles, ibex, and deer surviving in the dry heat below. But the Caucasus is more than a natural wonder. It's a living museum where human history, language, and identity intertwine like roots beneath the soil. How can a region of just 10 million people speak 28 different languages? And why have so many once great civilizations here faded, almost entirely from human memory? You may never hear their languages spoken, and if nothing is done, there may be no one left to tell their stories. Wandering through the Caucasus peaks, you'll find not just wild nature, but ruins of ancient fortresses, moss-covered stone walls, watching silently over valleys, as if still guarding millennia of forgotten history. Just a few ranges away lies the Fertile Crescent, the cradle of human civilization, and the Caucasus. It is the edge, the forgotten fringe, where Bronze Age tribes once built kingdoms as old as the pharaohs of Egypt. Today, about 10 million people live scattered across the Caucasus, yet they speak 28 languages, spanning 3 completely unrelated language families. No clear connection, no common thread. Linguists call this place a living Tower of Babel, a treasure trove of tongues unmatched anywhere else. I once heard a researcher say, at least 5 languages here could vanish within a single generation. And I wonder, if that happens, who will be left to tell the stories those languages alone can hold? But such astounding diversity is not always a gift. Sometimes it's the very thing that keeps this region divided, ripped apart by conflict and conquest for centuries. Imagine being born in a place that the world doesn't know what country to call. Along Georgia's northern frontier lie 2 tiny regions, Abkhazia and South Ossetia, now trapped in one of the most tangled disputes of the post-Soviet world. After the USSR collapsed, both declared independence, and in 2008, Russia intervened with military force to back them. Since then, only 5 countries have recognized them as an independent nation. The rest of the world sees this land as occupied territory. For the people who live here, that means being trapped in limbo, caught between 2 sides, stateless, without the right to move, and without access to official hospitals. Imagine this. You can't leave your hometown because your passport holds no value anywhere on Earth. How many children in the Caucasus are growing up like this? If you were to redraw the world map right now, would you place the Caucasus in Europe or in Asia? Unlike the clear-cut lines of the Strait of Gibraltar or the Panama Canal, the boundary between Europe and Asia, here in the Caucasus, has long been a point of fierce debate. Some geographers draw the line north of the mountains. Others trace the ridge itself. And those from the old school? They insist Elbrus, the highest peak in the Caucasus, belongs to Asia. The story took a new twist when mountaineers began the 7 Summits Challenge to conquer the tallest mountain on each continent. At first, Mont Blanc was Europe's representative, but then Elbrus took its place. So now the question stands, which one is truly the roof of Europe? I can't help but wonder if even the most basic geographical definitions are still being questioned. Then is the Caucasus truly a barrier between continents? Or is it proof that every border is, in the end, just temporary? And what if, The Caucasus is merely the tip of the iceberg, a fragment of one of the most complex geological, ecological, and cultural regions on the planet that we've yet to truly understand. What do you think? Is Elbrus part of Europe or Asia? Let me know in the comments below. And if you found the Caucasus fascinating, just wait until we dive into Patagonia, the wind-swept edge of the world, or the Rockies, the rugged backbone of North America. The mysteries are far from over, and I'll be telling you all about them very soon. So don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications, so you won't miss a single moment in this journey through the world's greatest hidden stories. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.